Hello everybody, thanks for joining us today. Today we're going to be discussing the new developments that have been made in background toolpath calculation for this milestone. First we're going to do a brief recap just to fully understand what the idea or the purpose of background toolpath calculation is, how we enable it, and what has been enabled while the background toolpath calculation takes place. So the idea is as the background toolpath calculation takes place, the user is able to perform the normal ESPRIT workflow without having to wait for the calculation to complete. You enable this inside the ESPRIT options under machining. The commands that have been enabled and are now functional are as follows. I shouldn't say everything on the Home tab, but on the Home tab we have background toolpath calculation, work plane creation, and show hide, along with the heads-up display. So we have everything from rotation, pan, choosing a new work plane, turning on and off layers, masks, etc. Everything on the heads-up display is fully functional, as is all of the commands on the Geometry tab and the Modeling tab. So we have, for example, our knitted surfaces, surface curve, solid creation. That's all fully functional while the background toolpath calculation takes place. On the Feature tab, all of the feature creation commands are available, as is with the Tooling tab, all of the tool creation commands. And you'll also notice that when the toolpath calculation is taking place in the background, we have this progress bar that shows up on the part operation list to let you know that something is actually happening in the background, and it will give you a percentage of how far along the calculation is. Now let's actually look at the background toolpath in action and show how, thanks to background toolpath calculation, I can continue my normal ESPRIT workflow. Let's first make sure that background toolpath calculation is enabled. So again, we do this through the options, and it's under machine options. You can see here I have background toolpath calculation enabled. It is worth noting that this particular option is a system option, meaning that it persists from document to document, meaning the next ESPRIT file I have open, or I will open, the background toolpath calculation will also be enabled. So if we look at our file here, we have our solid that's been imported. There are no operations applied to it yet. There was some work done on it. There is a freeform feature, and then there have been some tools that have been created as well. So just to let you know what I'm going to do, because this is going to go kind of fast, is I'm going to apply my roughing operation. And as the roughing operation calculates in the background, I'm going to prepare the model for the next operation, which would be a re-roughing. Basically, I'm going to cover these holes over here, and I'm going to then create the freeform feature, all while the toolpath calculates in the background. So let's go ahead and apply our process, our roughing process. Okay, if we take a look at the part operation list, you can see the toolpath calculation is already started in the background. You can see the different functionality that's still enabled even while the toolpath is calculated in the background. Okay. We're going to go back to my modeling tab, and we're going to use the hole covering to cover up these holes. Now, I wasn't concerned about these holes with my roughing operation because that tool uses a big enough tool where I didn't have to worry about it dipping into these holes. However, my re-roughing operation tool is smaller, so I'm going to want to cover these holes and then include that covering in my freeform feature for my re-roughing. So that's what I'm doing right now. And thanks to background toolpath calculation, I do not need to wait for the calculation to complete before I continue my work. All right, it looks like all my holes have been covered. Notice again I can pan, zoom, view. It's just like nothing was happening. Now let's go ahead and create our feature, our freeform feature. So I'll include the entire solid, and then I'll also include the covering that I made. And we'll use this freeform feature for our re-roughing operation. Now, if I were doing any type of rotary work, for example, I wanted a machine on the sides here, again, if we go to our Home tab, you can see all my work plane geometry commands are available. So I would be able to go in and change the work plane. I would be able to save that work plane, able to add, change my masks, able to add layers, turn on and off layers. Everything that's available to me in the heads-up display is also available to me during the background toolpath calculation. If we wanted to stop, we could always click on the stop button, and that would stop the calculation, and then the operation would go into a warning state telling you that toolpath calculation has been interrupted. All right, my toolpath is complete. So I can just simply hide that. Now at this point, if I did not have the background toolpath calculation enabled, I would have to go and then, well, first off, I would have been sitting there for the last few minutes doing nothing. And then I would have had to go and create these whole coverings and create this freeform feature. But thanks to the background toolpath calculation, I was able to continue my normal workflow. And now I'm ready straight away to apply my new process. So that would be my re-roughing. Okay, so now my re-roughing takes place. Again, we can see the progress here in the part operation list. While that calculation takes place, I would like to actually create my tool for, say, the finishing operation. So I'm going to go to Tooling, we'll create a ball end mill, and I can go through and I can actually either open up the tool, which I'll do in this case. Open the tool, maybe I'll make some changes here. Okay. Make any necessary changes, change my tool holders, change the diameters. Okay, change the tool itself, the cutter. And when I'm finished, I can click OK, and it created my tool for my finishing operation, all while my re-roughing operation calculation takes place. And again, just to recap, on the Home tab, we of course have the ability to stop the toolpath calculation. We have our work plane creation. We can show and hide our different windows. The full heads-up display is available. Geometry tab, everything is fully functional. Modeling tab, everything is operational. Feature creation as well as tool creation is available as well. So all of the operations that you need to basically prepare the part for the toolpath calculation should be available to you up to this point. We look forward to you actually using this, getting this in your hands, and giving us feedback on what you think. Maybe there are items that might be enabled that might be useful for you, so it would be interesting to see what we can do in the future as far as enabling more commands. But that pretty much summarizes what we have for now with milestone 100 in regards to the background toolpath calculation. Thanks for joining me, and I look forward to hearing from your feedback. Thanks.